However, when you grate your own, and I'll use a little grater, but obviously most of these kitchens use commercial graters, you'll see that, and you'll experience this at home too, you'll see the strands come out at irregular shapes. There's wastage because of you get this happening. Of course, I'm going to be extreme for the camera, but but I guess the thing is, it's just not as consistent, let alone difficult. So there's two key things I'll talk about over the next few minutes, and that'll be yield and time. So time takes you time to grate that product, and in terms of yield, because you get a lot of different length strands, it just doesn't go into this cup in the same way. And of course this is going in nice and easy, but when you grate a lot of this in a commercial kitchen and then compact it slightly, your yield changes. So nice consistent yield in here, not so consistent in here. Plus, has anyone ever bought the grated cheese at the shops and taken it home and used it, or you'll grate your own? You'll find that most of the ones that you use or you purchase from the shops have like a powdery substance on that. Anyone ever experienced that? Yeah, so that is there to stop the cheese from sticking together and what we call clumping. So quite often you get this clumping, a bit of pressure over time, it wants to reform itself, and when you're putting together a pizza you have to actually physically try and pull those clumps apart. So you'll see in a second when I actually do ours that you don't have that problem whatsoever. So that clumpiness, what it tends to do is it makes your junior chefs very generous when they're doing portion control, much like I am doing with the sauce. But so when they're doing a portion control, often they won't use the cup. If you get a chance next time you're in Domino's or Pizza Hut, have a look at what they're doing over the counter. You'll see that they're quite often just free-handing the cheese onto the pizzas. That's actually not the way they're taught to do it, but the young junior chefs doing their thing. So in most places, they're taught to do a certain size portion, and then they'll put that on the pizza, and hopefully that'll give you a nice consistent covering. And as you can see, if I've got too much in one place, I can move it around. And funny enough, my last little piece stayed in there, and that's actually left over from this. I won't put this on because I want you to actually try our cheese, but as you can imagine, it's a little bit more difficult to spread around. It's more difficult to get your portion control, and it takes a little bit longer on every pizza to actually spread the cheese out evenly. I'm going to be like one of those junior chefs and be a bit generous on this one because I've gone over the edge. I'll pop those in the oven, and whilst I guess the other thing I talked about was yield and time, and Nigel talked about stretch. So if we get this right, we should see the stretchiness of our cheese once that comes out. I was talking briefly before we started to some of the journalists have been to Clandy Boy, which I know Rob will talk about soon. Did you get to actually feel the cheese that was produced there, or why don't you have a... Why not?